ate for lunch. Do like gonna go home. Do 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 do. Hey, welcome to the Nerd Gym live stream. I'm your coach Melanie Black, and if you are looking to have your fitness questions answered, your burning, itching, ridiculous, wonderful, seething fitness questions, I am here for you. I'm going to tell you all about the Nerd Gym in just a little while here, but first off, I want to give a big thank you to all of our patrons on Patreon, without whom I would not be able to do these lives, all of the Zoom classes that we do, all the fun stuff that we do at the Nerd Gym to keep you healthy and fit, even when you don't want to spend all day at the gym. All right, so today's question is fruit bad? But before we get into it, can we just take a moment to appreciate this sweet potato? Check this bad boy out. Holy crap. So this thing started sprouting in my cupboard because I didn't get to it fast enough, and I was like, well, I'll just stick it into some water and see what happens. And I think it's only been 2 weeks, something like that, and it has gone insane. So I just wanted to share with you my awesome sweet potato. Totally unrelated to the question at hand. All right, let us get into it. Is fruit bad for you? There's a lot of confusion on this subject. There's a lot of, for people who have maybe been through a couple of personal trainers or been through a couple of different kinds of diet programs, you've probably got some very mixed messages on whether fruit is healthy, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's going to facilitate your fat loss or make it impossible, right? So there's been a whole lot of misinformation. No, not even misinformation, just maybe putting the emphasis on the wrong thing. So we're just going to get nerdy with it. I'm going to give you the nitty gritty on fruit. So, the fruit. Is it bad for you? Is it bad for you? Okay. Now, first off, I will tell you that any nutrition plan that vilifies any one type of food, and specifically if it vilifies any specific foods within that food, it's probably some hocus pocus mumbo jumbo, not really gonna get you much more results than wishful thinking, which can actually have results. The placebo effect is a real effect. We won't rule that out, but understand that if your diet plan that you're about to dive into vilifies a food, probably just some hocus pocus type stuff happening there. Okay, so it depends on how much. Anything in a large enough dose is lethal. Okay? Anything in a large enough dose is lethal. Even in some smaller doses, you're going to notice some ill side effects. One of the really common ones that we see in diet trends and diet culture is when people do a juice cleanse, okay? And a lot of the really obvious things that will happen to your body get dismissed as, oh, that's your body just getting rid of toxins. No, honey, if you got diarrhea for 4 days straight, your body's telling you, no, I'm rejecting this. This is a bad idea right now. So fruits don't have any magical powers. Let's get that out of the way. They are neither evil, nor do they have any magical powers. One of the ways that it's very easy to go overboard on fruit is if we're doing a whole lot of juices or smoothies, okay? So juices and smoothies are really the biggest suspects, and it's a darn shame that smoothies have such a reputation of being synonymous with health. And in fact, you get a lot of Instagram trainers, people who are 20 nothing, and they look great, and they'd look great whether they were on a alcohol and Snickers bar diet or whether they're having green smoothies, and they're saying it's because of the green smoothie and the fat loss tea, when it's not, y'all. So as you're looking at these people, understand, for most nutrition goals, for most beginner goals, and definitely for most fat loss goals, smoothies and juices have no business being in there. Be very mindful of these things. A lot of times smoothies are integrated into a diet plan in order to sell you supplements, because a lot of supplements like protein powders and other powder form supplements taste really terrible on their own. So if somebody is selling supplements and they're telling you that smoothies are a healthy part of your nutrition plan, chances are they're probably just trying to cover up the taste of that supplement, so you keep on buying it because it tastes good in the smoothie. And again, placebo effect is a real effect, so it can have some positive benefits if you believe it does, but I am going to just be here to trash all of your beliefs right now. Magical thinking in and around smoothies. Smoothies are not the best way to get your fruit in, and we're going to talk about why in a moment here. Okay, so fruit, probably fine. Going overboard, probably not so fine. So let's get into the details, because it really depends on your nutrition plan, right? Many nutrition plans require you to be within a certain calorie count and or within a certain macronutrient count. Now, I personally am not a big fan of low-carb diets. Fruits do have a high carbohydrate content, which is why they're often vilified by low-carb diets. People will say, oh no, fruits are terrible for you, they're all sugar. Let's take a look. Let's compare apples and oranges, bananas and strawberries, and see what we got going on here, quite literally. Okay, so all of these are per 100 grams, which is what, like 3.5 ounces or something like that. So 100 grams of apple, and understand that there's going to be variations between different types of apples and different, sweeter oranges, less sweet oranges, different types of berries. There's a lot of variation. These are just 4 selections right here from the USDA database to give you kind of a overview of what you're looking at when you're looking at fruit. What the heck's in there? There's no nutrition label on the fruit itself, so it's sometimes worth looking up these numbers and just having a general sense of what's in your food. Okay, so calorie-wise, per 100 grams, per 3.5 ounces or whatever, we're looking at 52, 47, 89, 33. So your apples, your oranges, your peaches, pears, tree fruits, plums, all of those are going to be about the same-ish, around about 50 calories per 100 grams or so. When you get into your tropical fruits, like your bananas, mangoes, your what else? Papaya, probably. I don't know. I didn't look up papaya. But a lot of your tropical, your sweeter, your longer growing season fruits are going to be up there almost double than that. And then your least caloried option here are going to be berries. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, they're all going to be relatively, as compared to bananas, apples, oranges, peaches, pears, all that stuff, berries are going to be your lowest calorie option. So if you're looking calorie-wise, what is a good fruit snack for me? Calorie-wise, always go for the berries whenever you can, whenever they're in season. Okay. Now, fat, there's negligible amounts of fat in all of these, negligible amounts of protein, potassium, all that good stuff is in there. There's a lot of vitamins, minerals in fruit, so they do pack that. That's wonderful. Carbohydrate is where most of those calories come from, though. So total carbohydrate is what you're looking at here. For your apples, 14 grams, your oranges, 12, bananas, 23, and strawberries, 8. Okay, so total carbohydrate, that does include your dietary fiber as part of that, as well as sugar. So dietary fiber and sugar are what make up that total carbohydrate count. And this is handy information to understand, so that when you are looking at some packaged foods, and I did a rant about this on another video, so I won't get too into it there, net carbs are not a real thing. Don't look at the net carbs. Net carbs on food packaging is usually a big bold letters on the front of something like a bar or a shake or whatever. It'll be like 2 net carbs or only 0 net carbs per serving, and then you look it over, you flip it over, look at the total carbohydrate, because those sneaky net carb labels, they basically subtract the fiber, but fiber is carbohydrate, whether it's fiber or not. Now, is fiber good for you? Yeah, fiber's really good for you, which is part of the reason why we're going to talk about fruit versus smoothies and versus juice, okay? So this is what is in your fruits. This is kind of a good range to give you an idea of what's in your fruit. And it's going to be a pretty big range, but in general, all of these would be classified as a carbohydrate. They only have but trace amounts of protein in them. You couldn't really count them as a protein in any reasonable way. Now, once we take out that fiber 2.4, 2.4, 2.6, 2, so you got about 2 grams of fiber per 100. And keep in mind the recommendations for adults is going to be about 25 grams of fiber per day. So really, you should be eating a lot of vegetables and some fruit for most people for your for your fiber needs, which means that if you're getting your fiber needs met by high fiber grains and vegetables and fruits, you're not going to have a whole lot of carbohydrate left over for refined things in most cases, depending on the nutrition plan that you are on. Here we go. Okay, so that is apples, oranges, bananas, strawberries. Let's talk about juice. So we've got apple juice and orange juice comparison side by side here. So apples to apple juice comparison, calories about the same, 52, 46. There's a little bit less in this apple juice. Again, that could be because of the species of the apple, or it could be because, we're missing 2 whole grams, 2.2 whole grams of fiber. They done took the fiber out. So that reduces the total carbohydrate and reduces the calories. So does this mean that apple juice is better for a low-calorie diet than apples? Well, number one, you'd be splitting hairs if you're looking at that difference of 8 total calories. But number two, there's going to be a very other important factor that makes juice a lot more tricky for a fat loss diet, and we'll talk about that in a sec. Okay, and then when we're looking at orange juice, less difference here, 47 versus 45. Again, it's that dietary fiber coming out of there. We are reducing it from 2.4 down to 2 grams dietary fiber. So really, really important to note that the main difference between juice and the whole fruit is the lack of fiber, and also reduction in protein here as well. Not that there was any protein really to speak of to begin with, so I'm not too worried about that one, but the fiber is significant. Now, the most important thing when it comes to looking, and this is, including looking at smoothies as well, is speed of consumption, the amount of fiber that's in there, and satiety. So your smoothies, they've got the fiber, right? Because you're blending the whole fruit in there. And you need to still consider speed and satiety. In other words, how fast are you going to drink that orange juice versus how fast are you going to eat that orange? I was working with a mother and daughter team many years back now, and they were doing really everything right on their nutrition plan, on their exercise plan, or so we thought. They were coming to classes very, very consistently. They were keeping a food journal. They showed me all of their food. And 4 weeks into the program, and both of them had plenty of weight to lose, about 4 weeks in, when they should have been down at least 8 pounds with the regimen they were going through, they were the same. They were plateaued, and they were getting very frustrated, rightfully so. So frustrated. And both of them were battling with diabetes and trying to get that under control as well. So they had a lot of health things on the line with this program, and we were trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And I said, okay, are you writing down everything that you eat in the journal? Is there anything slipping through the cracks? And they said, no, everything's down there, and they started telling me again about their beautiful breakfast that they make, this, that, and the other thing, and their fresh squeezed orange juice. And I said, what? Like, what? Fresh squeezed orange juice. Okay. Oh, yeah, but we squeeze it ourselves. And they were very adamant about this, that they were using organic oranges. Some of you know how I feel about organic. We talked about that before. Organic oranges, okay? And we're squeezing it ourselves. So they were convinced, because it was fresh, it was so fresh, they were squeezing it themselves, that this was a healthy addition. And after all, fruit was allowed on the plan, so why wouldn't it be fruit juice, right? I said, okay. So you're telling me you're having a glass of orange juice every morning. Fine. How many oranges does it take to make your glass of orange juice, one serving of the orange juice? How many oranges does that take? Oh, well, between, I don't know, like 6, 7, I guess. I said, okay, 6 or 7 oranges. 6 or 7 oranges to make that one glass of orange juice. How many oranges, if I said to you, okay, you can sit, like with your breakfast, you're going to sit down and you're going to eat oranges after you've finished your omelet, your egg white omelet, and your vegetables and everything. You're going to sit down and eat some oranges. Would you sit down and consecutively eat 6 or 7 oranges? And they're like, oh no, we couldn't eat that many. And then it dawned on them. Ah, right. That's a lot of oranges to be drinking all at once, because each of those, oranges, we're looking at, again, let's see, 3.5 ounces. So that's like 100 grams would be like a smallish orange. Let's see, we're looking at oranges. So about 50 calories. Takes a caloric deficit for most people of at least 300 calories, 300 to 500 calories, and you're basically putting that right back in with the orange juice, right? You're putting it right back in there with the orange juice, and it's not even going to fill you up. It's not going to make you feel full. Nobody ever said, oh man, I couldn't eat another bite because of that orange juice, right? But yeah, we have 47 calories per 3.5 ounces-ish times about 6 or 7. So we've got an additional 300 calories of juice coming into the diet just because of that one thing. So speed, fiber, satiety, all these things have an impact. If we drank 300 calories worth of juice or 300 or 600 calories worth of smoothie, and we don't feel like we ate anything, it's not sitting in our stomach like we ate anything because there's no fiber to slow down that digestion, right? Then we're going to be hungry really fast. And also the fiber is also important for how slowly those calories get distributed. So another problem that we run into when we consume calories really fast, and by really fast, like drinking them is one of the fastest ways you could possibly consume calories. And this is definitely something that I do recommend for people who are trying to gain weight, right? If you're trying to gain weight, and even gain fat, like fat gain is part of your goal for yourself, drinking your calories is a really great way to do that because you are going to get more in there, but you still have to get the fiber. So smoothies for those people can help. But in general, for fat loss goals, you do not want, speed is not your friend. You want to slow down your eating as much as possible. When you get too many calories dumped into your system too fast, especially carbohydrate calories, especially sugar or fructose calories, what you end up with is a big insulin response, which is good. Insulin pulls the sugar out of your bloodstream, puts it where it needs to go as usable energy. It can put some in the liver, it can put some in the muscle tissue, but any excess beyond that can't stay in the bloodstream. If it stays in the bloodstream, your blood actually becomes thick and syrupy, like syrup, which is why diabetics will lose eyesight and limbs, because they don't have, you can't pump syrupy blood through those fine little capillaries in the eyes or through the extremities as easily. So that is the big function of insulin, pulling it out of the bloodstream. But once it's pulled out of there, it's got to go somewhere. Liver, muscle tissue, once those are full, goes to fat. Goes right to fat if your body's working properly. So if you are ever mad at your jelly rolls or at your fat on your body, try to think of it this way: you'd be dead otherwise, right? Or missing a limb otherwise. So thank your body for making those calories into fat, because otherwise you would have much worse problems. I guarantee it. So definitely give your body a little thank you for doing that. At least if you have excess body fat that you're getting frustrated with, show your body some love and courtesy for storing the fat to begin with. But if we want to avoid storing more fat, don't drink your calories. Don't dump them into your system quick. And this goes for things like vegetable juices as well, y'all. Vegetable juices, smoothies, doesn't matter if it's sweet or not. Don't drink your food if you're trying to lose weight. This is super important. Okay, but I'm getting off track here. Let's get back to the question at hand. Is fruit bad? We've got one more thing to cover with this concept before we draw our conclusion here. So fructose, or fruit sugar, in high doses can contribute to more fatty liver disease. Fructose, unlike sucrose, does have to take an extra detour through the liver to be fully processed. So excess amounts of fruit, again, which would easily happen if we're drinking lots of juices, or if we were eating a lot of processed foods in which fructose was the primary sugar, it can contribute to fatty liver disease, which is a big problem. But on the other hand, fructose also has a lower glycemic index, which is better for folks with diabetes. So either way, you just don't want to go overboard on it. But these same facts are part of the reason why there's so much conflicting information, and why we even got the question to begin with, is fruit bad? Because a lot of times people will latch on to these really... Both of these things are minor. They're minutia. They don't actually matter. If you're eating a reasonable amount of fruit, neither of these things actually matter that much, right? So that's the main takeaway here, is you want to be eating a wide variety of high fiber, whole foods, and including some fruit, right? But we don't want it to be all fruit. One of the big reasons why I think fruit gets this reputation for being bad, and why a lot of personal trainers vilify fruit specifically, is because they do get frustrated with clients who they say, oh yeah, just go ahead. They don't give them a specific meal plan. If you weren't given a specific meal plan by your coach or your trainer, that's red flag number one. Once you are given a specific meal plan, or then you can know how much fruit you're supposed to have and feel healthy and awesome, and it can be a wonderful part of your nutrition plan. But if you are just told blanket statement like, only eat whole food, right? If that's all you're told, and you're used to eating highly processed, very sweet things, then fruit seems like the natural progression from there, right? Oh, I'm going to switch from eating cookies to eating apples, and that's going to be your go-to, and you're going to gobble those up. And that is that better than cookies? Yeah, of course. It's got more fiber in it, probably more vitamins and minerals too. But is it going to help you with weight loss if that was your goal to begin with, switching away from cookies and to fruit? Not if you're eating the same amount of calories and carbohydrates that are in the apple, right? So if you're switching away from that, trying to do that for fat loss reasons, you really got to be aware of that. So no, fruit is not bad. Fruit is good in normal amounts. Remember, anything is toxic in high levels, okay? Water, oxygen is all toxic in super high levels, so amounts matter. If you don't have a specific meal plan that will help you get to your goals, I can help you with that. Join the Nerd Gym. You go to www.thenerdgym.com, and I will hook you up with a specific meal plan for you. Not only like if you're vegetarian, vegan, omnivore, what your food preferences are, but also specific to you in like what's your height, what's your metabolism, that kind of thing. And do you like to count calories? Do you say, no, I don't want to ever count a calorie in my life? How much guidance you need? We have meal plans for all of that. So go ahead and join. Very worth your while. And yeah, if you have questions, drop them down below in the comments. Or if you are a Nerd Gym member, let me know on Patreon. If you go to www.thenerdgym.com, that will redirect you to our Patreon page, where you can contribute, increase your membership level, give me questions to answer on future these things. If you have a more private question, then definitely send me a message through Patreon. And yeah, help me out by liking, subscribing, all that stuff on the YouTube channel here. Helps us out a lot. And I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. All right. Bye. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.